To help us explore more about Metro Atlanta's transportation future, I have with me Rosa Clausell Rountree. She is Executive Director of the State Road and Tollway Authority, and Tad Leithead, Chair of the Atlanta Regional Commission's Transportation and Air Quality Committee, also Senior Vice President of Cousins Properties. Thank you both for joining me. I appreciate your time on the shape of things to come. Lots to talk about. You guys are just a plethora of expertise and a wealth of information. It'll be a nice discussion. Let's begin here. We know that there is no single solitary silver bullet to solve transportation. So what do we do? Go ahead, Ted.
Well, I think given the fact that there is no single solution, we need a broad variety of solutions. A certain number of people in Atlanta, Georgia are going to continue to drive to work and commute in the single occupancy vehicle. But we also need van pools, we need carpools, we need managed lanes that allow people to have choices about how quickly and efficiently they get to work. We need transit. We need a full regional transportation system that's interconnected to MARTA and to the entire region. We need bicycle paths. We need sidewalks, so that however someone decides to live and work and recreate, there's a transportation solution available to them that suits their needs. So it's all about choice. It's all about creating a broad variety of options so that we're not reliant on one single mode of transportation as we are today. 99% of people are driving around in single occupancy vehicles in today's Atlanta, Georgia.
Has he missed anything, Rosa?
No, I don't think that. That was very comprehensive.
Thank you,
but what you heard was choices. We look at transportation differently now than we did in the past. Before, it was expectation about building roads. We thought roads were going to be the solution. Today, we recognize that as consumers, we like choices. And that's what transportation is about. It's about choices. Okay. And so that's the solution, I believe.
And roads are always going to be a part of, a significant part of that solution. But if you think about the road system in Atlanta, it works most of the time. It doesn't work very well for 2 hours in the morning. It doesn't work very well for 2 hours in the afternoon. The rest,
and it doesn't work if there's an accident.
That's correct.
At all.
But there are many hours and many days and weekends when we have plenty of roads.
That's
and
correct.
So the challenge is to provide alternatives, particularly during peak times, so that we can shave those high traffic times, give people alternatives so that they can commute some other way, and while we're at it, solve the congestion problem.
Let's look specifically at some of the options. You keep saying choice, choice, choice. One you would suggest is that we have options going down 75. Maybe some do have tolls. Maybe some of the lanes don't have tolls. Is that something that the public would embrace?
Well, I think the public likes to have options. All right. I think if we went and tried to put a toll booth on I-75 and everybody had to pay the toll, the public is used to driving for free. They would not support that. However, if you add a couple of lanes that are toll lanes that move more efficiently, that people can choose to use when they're in a hurry.
Much like they do in California.
Much like they do in California. I mean, in California, you read the sign and it says, if you want to be in this lane right now, it's going to cost you $2 a mile. You can make a decision. Are you in that much of a hurry? Are you okay to sit in traffic? Maybe there's something on the radio that you want to listen to. But it gives people that choice. Yes, I think people will embrace that. I think people are beginning to demand it. One of the things that we're finding is that when we do ridership studies for transit systems, it used to be that we would have trouble getting the ridership that had been projected. The last few transit systems that have been built in this country, the ridership is far beyond the expectations when they did the projections. There are people now who are unwilling to sit in traffic anymore. They want the opportunity to ride transit. They want these choices, but they're not available to them. If you wake up in New York, if you live outside New York, when you wake up in the morning, you can take the bus, you can take the ferry, you can drive to work, you can take the train, you can carpool with your neighbor. You make that choice when you wake up in the morning.
Rosa, what are some of the things that commuters can do to not only lighten the stress, but really shave commute time, save money, and hopefully contribute to the whole?
Let's make sure they get engaged. That's the first thing I would say. And by getting engaged, go talk to your employer. Find out if they have telecommuting. Find out if there's flex time. What we want to do is try to change behavior so that you're not traveling during peak hours. We're not saying that we don't have the capacity. What we're saying is we need to change capacity. We need to change our drivers' behavior. Everyone's on the same road at the same time. If we can get them so they're not driving from 6 to 8 o'clock on the highway, and maybe driving from 10 o'clock. So changing that behavior would be a big piece of that. And then sometimes changing the alternative in transportation modes.
Take the bus if you can.
Well, I think commuters across the board know they have a problem. There is no one in Atlanta who is unaware of the traffic. What they don't know about is the solutions. They assume they're stuck. So what commuters can do is they can educate themselves about what options are available to them. And then they can support vocally and financially. It has to be a partnership. In order for people to make choices, people like Rosa and me have to provide choices. All right, so, and that's a partnership with the commuter themselves. If they're willing to change their behavior, if they're willing to invest in the alternatives, then more and more alternatives can be provided. So there has to be an awareness and an education that if the commuters want to see options, those options can be made available, but you have to work together.
So to be part of the solution, you have to take some action.
That's exactly right.
Final thoughts, in conclusion, what are the key components that we really need to put in place to make a difference?
Well, we've got to have a region-wide transit system. Bottom line, you've got to be able, not just in DeKalb and Fulton in the city of Atlanta, but around this entire region, you've got to be able to ride transit to work, right, number one. Number two, we need to continue to expand the options and choices that are available. We need to establish policies for managed lanes and tolling, because before we can do the tolling, we have to have policies that set forth how we do the tolling. We have to make those kinds of policy decisions. We have to have the courage to step up and do the things that you have to do politically to put the framework in place, just to have transit, still have the choice of the single occupancy vehicle if you want, but to put these choices in place so that people, when they wake up in the morning, have those options available to them.
Key components, we've got to look at managed lanes.
Yes.
We've got to look at transit. We've got to look at bus rapid transit. We've got to know what's out there. Tolling is going to be a part of it, building that infrastructure, building a system. You talked about a region. We've got to talk about a system. We've got to talk about other ways of financing, public-private initiatives, PPIs that we're hearing about. It's okay to have private come in and share the risk and invest in our public infrastructure. We're going to have to look at the full picture and the full scope. But bottom line, key success is partnership, getting engaged and educating so that we have a heightened awareness of what it is the solution is going to be for Georgia.
I couldn't agree more. And you know, we also need to think about how we build our city. There are many, many people who will walk to work if they can live in proximity to work. So as we think about our land use planning in the city, we have to be very, very intelligent about what we develop and what we put together to encourage people to have the ability to walk if they so choose. Because walking as is one of the options.
That's right.
And probably the healthiest of all of the options. If we can create a pedestrian environment, we'll have a truly international city.
All right. With that, I have to say thank you to both of you. I appreciate your time, Rosa and Tad. It's been a pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed learning more about plans to keep our Atlanta region on the move. To learn more about transportation issues, the challenges, and the opportunities for involvement, please visit ARC's website at www.atlantaregional.com. Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Shape of Things to Come.